according to the narrative, in like 14, 15 years. She started breaking down crying. What the slave master did, he brought the son a little closer to her. He gave the son, who according to the narrative was like 6 foot tall, 260 pounds, gave him the whip, tarred and feathered a whip, and said, I want you to whip your mother with this whip. Of course, the boy said, I will not. That's my mother. He went up to the mother with a loaded shotgun and said, look, nigger, if you don't beat her with this whip, I'm gonna blow her brains out. The mother started crying and said, son, I've lived my life. I want you to live your life. Just do what the man says. The boy started breaking down crying, understandably. Said, Mom, I can't whip you with this whip. And the mom said, just do what he says, because if you don't, he'll probably kill me and kill you too. You're just a 13-year-old child. So reluctantly, so the master could get his way with the mother sexually, this boy whipped his own mother to death, so the slave master could continue to have his way with her. But of course, he couldn't get his way because the boy whipped his own mother to death. These are just some of the things that we suffered due to sexual assault and abuse of black women. This boy whipped his own mother to death because the slave master couldn't have his way with her sexually. When is that going to go on trial? What about these cases in this book? Again, of the numerous sexual assaults and rapes of black women before the supposed civil rights movement. The civil rights movement did not start with boycotting buses and Rosa Parks not giving up her seat. She was an attorney for the NAACP back in the 40s. It's all in this book with Reese Taylor, who was gang raped by 6 police officers in Alabama in 1944. When are we going to talk about that, since you want to go back in time and bring up supposed rape cases in the 70s and 80s and whenever else, which I don't approve of? I don't know if Bill Cosby did these things or not. But it's funny how America has selective memory. They have selective memory. Just like Malcolm said. Go back and look up some of his speeches back in the late 50s on police brutality. He said they will assault you, beat you with a billy club, and then file charges on you for abuse and assault when they were, in fact, the perpetrators. Yes, unfortunately, injustices like that were commonplace. Yes. This ain't no hate speech. These are the facts that many places, many organizations and people just don't want to talk about, and it's not being put in its proper perspective. How can you say you're a religious group? How can you say you're following Jesus and Muhammad and you are too damn scared and pussified to talk about injustices that are going on right in front of your face? How can you say you're walking in their footsteps? If Jesus was here right now, do you think he would be okay with people being shot down in a Waffle House? People being asked to leave a Starbucks? Do you think he'd be okay with that? Come on, Muslims. Do you think Muhammad would be okay with a man with a gun license? He's showing you the license, and he gets gunned down right in front of his fiance and his 4-year-old child. What kind of justice is this? And what kind of Jesus and Muhammad are you say you following? Muhammad said, if you put the moon in my right hand and the sun in my left hand on, I will never follow your wicked ways. He was talking about the government at that time. All these Muslims scared to speak up other than Minister Farrakhan. Oh, astaghfirullah, he's not following the sunnah of Muhammad. And how are you selling pork, liquor, alcohol, and everything else we ain't supposed to be eating and drinking and consuming, and you call yourself a Muslim? What sunnah are you following? Sunnah, by the way, is an Arabic word meaning the way. Following the way of Muhammad, the way of Jesus. I'm talking about these Muslims who say that Minister Farrakhan ain't a Muslim. It's not for me to say who is a Muslim. I can say something is un-Islamic, but it's not for me to say who's Muslim and who's not. Anyway, back to America. When are we going to talk about all these rapes of black women? Since you want to talk about rape, since you all of a sudden so concerned about sexual assault of women, really? Really? What about all these domestic violence shelters? And all these sexual assaults that go on? This is the most wicked country in this land. Now, that's what's going on with us. Black people getting shot in Waffle Houses. Just here in York, PA, in Pennsylvania, 2 sisters was asked to leave a golf course because they said they weren't playing golf right and they were taking too long. Little did they know they were attorneys. But they were asked to leave. That's why I came up with the title. Is it 1918 or 2018? Asked to leave golf courses. People still being forced out of restaurants after the Starbucks fiasco. It's going to keep on happening. And why are we surprised? Why are we surprised? I gave the analogy last week. That would be like going to a dog kennel and saying, why are these damn dogs barking in here? Go to a beach. Why is all this sand on this beach? That's what you see at beaches. That's what dogs do. They bark. You're watching an X-rated movie and they doing all kind of freaky things on there. That's what they do on X-rated movies. So why would we be surprised how America is treating us? Have you forgotten? Have you forgotten? Look at them people there. Some women there are pregnant, white women. Have you forgotten? Just 40, 50 years removed. Public lynchings right here in America. Have you forgotten? And used to make postcards of it. It's going to be a lynching today. We're going to lynch a nigger today. Hence is why I don't use the word picnic. That's the word they used to use when it was going to be a public lynching. Picking a nigger to lynch. Have we forgotten? Nothing has changed. And black people are still being lynched in the streets. Said the boy fell off some mats there in Atlanta a couple years ago, and his face is all mangled. I forget the young man's name. I think his name was Kenneth Johnson. I may be saying his name wrong. Y'all know the case I'm talking about. See how quick we forget? What happened to that young girl in Chicago where she went to a party? Young girl ain't have no business being at no party, but that don't mean she should die. And she ends up dead in a freezer. See how quick we forget? Kanika Jenkins, I believe her name is. What happened to that? I'ma say it again. Where is Darren Wilson these days? The child killer that killed Mike Brown in Missouri. Where is he these days? Why ain't no one talking about that? I'ma say it again. Where's George Zimmerman these days? The other child killer and abuser that killed Trayvon Martin. Didn't get 1 day in jail for killing a child. Where is he? Why is no one asking where he is? Is he walking the streets in Sanford, Florida? Is Darren Wilson walking the streets there in Missouri? Where's the cop that killed 12-year-old Tamir Rice? A 12-year-old child not bothering anyone, playing with a toy gun in the playground, which no one had the right to call the police on him because he wasn't doing anything. He's a 12-year-old child. The cop pulls up and within 2 seconds blows the child away. A 12-year-old child. Where is that cop? Is it 1918 or 2018? We should not be surprised by these things. We should not be surprised by getting kicked out of restaurants, being asked to leave golf courses. And it's going to keep on happening until we realize who we're dealing with and who our enemy is. For y'all who read scripture, it's a scripture in Mark, I believe, one of the gospel writers, and some people, I'm paraphrasing, was a little troubled. And Jesus said, what's wrong? They said, I see men as trees and as giants. And it's troubling me. I see men as trees and as giants. Sorry for the misfeed there. Jesus said, the followers said, I see men as trees and as giants. And Jesus said, let me put a little spittle, meaning in our language, let me kick a little knowledge to you. Let me put a little spittle on your eyes. Once Jesus put the spittle on their eyes, he said, how do you see men now? He said, I see them as the way that they are and how they are. So we need to see things and see these people as the way that they are. No hate speech. It's just what it is. Now, what is our personal responsibility in this? I used this analogy last week, and I'm going to use it again. What's going on in the black community, especially with our youth, is absolutely apprehensible, ridiculous, and atrocious. I'm talking about the murders and the violence in black communities. That is our own personal responsibility that we have to take responsibility for. That would be like us being in a barren land with no one else but us, just us. And some enemy comes over top with missiles and bombs and weapons, and we can't match them. We're under siege. We're under attack. I want you to match this with what's going on now. We're under siege. We're under attack. And then we start attacking and arguing and bickering with each other. How damn foolish would that be? How foolish would that be? We're already under attack. We're out. We can't match them. We're outnumbered. And then we start arguing and bickering with each other. Would that make any sense? Well, that's exactly what's going on now. The murders just last week, a good friend of mine, Brother Walter Jenkins, was shot in the head here in York, PA, behind violence that, to my understanding, he ain't have nothing to do with. Now he's struggling for his life. And I personally assisted this young brother with his development in Islam. I don't know what he follows now because I haven't seen him for a while because I'm just getting back here to Pennsylvania. But I know he's a good brother, and we're praying for you, brother, for your speedy recovery. And then that same day, an 18-year-old child lost his life. No white man can make you hate yourself and hate your brother. He can create the atmosphere, but he can't make you hate yourself and then have you have a mindset that you have such a disregard for human life that you go kill innocent women and children sometimes because you hate yourself and you hate your own brother. No one can make you do that. That is a choice of your own and responsibility that we have to take. No one can make you hate yourself, and no one can make you kill your brother. They can create the atmosphere, which this enemy has done, but they can't make you kill your brother or sister. All this gang violence and killing each other, taking a life off this planet which you have no right to do, and then ruining whole families. That's what's going on in the black community now, like it's some kind of pastime sport. And then some of us are so damn foolish and ignorant that we're creating the atmosphere. Meaning, I just had a good brother of mine today. He is an MMA fighter. Support him. Brother Dewan, Dirty South Owens, out of Durham, North Carolina. He is a MMA fighter. Me and him are good friends, and he was just coming back from touring and fighting.